So I was out at practice today, and we got a chance to see more. I feel like I'm pretty open with y'all when we have limited practice access. When they tell us we can go to practice for 20 minutes, I'll be very honest with you. Trying to get a segment out of that here and a practice report on LouisianaSports.net is not all that easy. Like, it's not. I wish I was super perceptive or I don't know. It's just there's not a lot going on in 20 minutes. When we can watch for 2 hours, I can get you some information. And so I got 2 hours worth of information today, and we'll kind of get into it. And I want to start with the LSU offense today. We're seeing a lot of the same front for LSU on the offensive line. Tyree Adams and Weston Davis at the tackles. Tyree Adams at left, Weston Davis at right. You're seeing a lot of Paul Mabenga at guard. You're seeing a lot of DJ Chester at center. And you're seeing a lot of Bo Bordelon at right guard. That's generally speaking what we've seen a lot of. Now, Cohen Eccles has played some right guard. He did today. Cohen Eccles has played some left tackle with the twos. Braylin Moore has subbed in at center. There are some moving pieces, but a lot of the time that we have seen has been from left to right. Tyree Adams, Paul Mabenga, DJ Chester, then Bo Bordelon or Cohen Eccles, and then Weston Davis. That's a lot of what we've seen. And to me, it's a little bit surprising to have seen DJ Chester working at center as much as we have seen him at center. We all just kind of assumed Braylin Moore would plug right in, and he's more so running with the twos. He spent some time with the ones today, more so with the twos. Now, Brian Kelly told us back 2 weeks ago, like, don't look too much at the rotations. We're going to cycle a lot of guys in there. But I'm just telling you, I've been to 3 practices now. Our staff has been to 4 practices now. And you're not seeing that much of a shuffle at offensive line. Some, not a lot. So that is interesting. You move back a level to the quarterback spot, and I thought Garrett Nussmeier today was excellent. I thought he was really, really good. Commanded the offense, completed a lot of short passes. His favorite target today in the 7-on-7 and the 11-on-11 that we saw was Trey'Dez Green. I saw Trey'Dez Green make an incredible catch down the left sideline, down near the end zone. Probably would have been a touchdown. It was 125 yards away from me, so I couldn't tell for sure. But it looked like it was in the end zone, up over the top of a defender. It was a really nice play. He also won a one-on-one route on a crossing route that Nussmeier hit him in stride on. Those two had a really nice synergy today. They hit each other on a little 1st and 10 out route into the right flat that would have gone for 10 or 12 yards and very likely a first down. I like the way that Garrett Nussmeier was locked in with Trey'Dez Green. Also saw some good things from some of the guys on the outside. When they go with the ones, you're always seeing Chris Hilton. You're always seeing Aaron Anderson. And then you're seeing a smattering of someone else at the third slot. Today, Destin Hill was out there early and often. I found that very interesting. There were some skeptics in the media that were going, Bryce Brown, Ed Nacar's coaches here. Maybe you're giving Destin Hill a look there. It was a little bit tongue-in-cheek. But Destin Hill was a really talented high school player. He just hasn't really played football over the last 4 years. But he was out there a little bit. You saw Nick Anderson come in later in the practice and run a little bit with the ones. Xavier Thomas has run a little bit with the ones as well. I thought, let me see, make sure my note is correct here. I thought, so Chris Hilton ran a really good slant route and beat Ashton Stamps over the middle. I liked that play a ton. And then there was one more that I liked offensively. Oh, Bauer Sharp ran a great double move route and got open for a touchdown catch against Austin Osbury, the safety, and I really liked that play as well. So you pair that with Trey'Dez Green and Bauer Sharp, and those two were out there a ton at the same time when they were going 11-on-11 and then 11-on-0, which was like the dry period. You're seeing a lot of LSU in 12 personnel, 1 back in the backfield, 2 tight ends. I don't know how much they're going to run that. You don't have a ton of depth at tight end. You do have Donovan Green, and you're going to have J.D. LaFleur, so you're adding to that in with Green's here, and then you're going to add to it with LaFleur here in the summer. But they were running a lot of 12 personnel, and we talked about Bauer Sharp today. He likes being on the field with Trey'Dez Green. He likes blocking a little bit, and he does like being out in space. And I thought he made some really nice plays out there. Chris Hilton had a great catch that we saw earlier today as well. I once again am encouraged by seeing him. But at this point, like, the story with Chris Hilton is not like, what can he do? We know what he can do. We know he's super fast. We know he can make plays down the field. We know he's improved as a route runner since he got here 4 years ago. But we don't know if he's going to be on the field. And that's not his fault. But at this point, it would be disingenuous for me not to bring that up when we talk about Chris Hilton on the practice field. I'm pulling for the guy. I believe in the guy. I think he can have a huge year. But you haven't seen that the first 4 years because of injury. The name I did not mention there, and that was a mistake I was thinking about in my head, Braylin Brown was also out there with the ones at times. And that's a guy who we talked to today in media breakout sessions. I asked him who the fastest 3 wide receivers were on the team. He said him first, then Chris Hilton, and then he went with Xavier Thomas. Now, I feel like he's got to give a hat tip to Jelani Watkins at some point. The guy runs track and might run in the Olympics one day, and I think is probably pretty clearly the fastest guy on the team. But Jelani's got some track obligations, and maybe he hasn't gotten to know him as well because Braylin Brown just got here. But I feel like the LSU passing game today was very good. There was one interception on a ball that was intended for Chris Hilton over the middle. It got tipped twice, and it was picked off by Austin Osbury. But overall, watching the 7-on-7, watching the 11-on-11, I came away very impressed with LSU's wide receivers and the quarterback. I thought he hit some deep balls, looked really good doing that. I thought he was great working around the line of scrimmage. And that's what you would expect from Garrett Nussmeier. You would expect him to be in complete control. I've mentioned this a few times over the years with Nussmeier, and to me, it still rings true. I have vivid memories of watching a freshman Garrett Nussmeier in his first spring just running all over the field like a 5-year-old, like dapping everybody on the head, screaming, yelling, waving his arms, just like absolute endless energy from this guy. And there's still a little bit of that in there. He made a great touchdown throw today and ran and did a jumping back tap with Destin Hill. You see some of that in him, but more so, it's a guy that's just kind of in control and in command. He's verbal, he's vocal, but he's a little bit more subdued than the guy that we saw going nuts. But at no point has he been more efficient than he is right now. And I think that what has stood out to me in a little bit of the 11-on-11 and the 7-on-7 that we've gotten to watch is that he's really good. Now, the counterpoint to that, and the other thing we have to consider when you're talking about Garrett Nussmeier, is last year he was given a lot of time to throw the ball by some NFL offensive linemen. And we don't know that piece to the equation yet. Garrett's never going to be an elite mobility guy. He's a good athlete. He's never going to be what Jaden Daniels is back there. And I don't think he's as mobile and aware and competent in the pocket with his movements as Joe Burrow was. Now, those are Heisman Trophy winners. I get it. But is he going to be under a little bit more pressure this year? Is he going to have to speed up that mental clock a little bit more this year? Now, he was as fast as anybody in the country, and there's a metric for this. This is not just me saying this. There's actual metrics on how quickly quarterbacks get the ball out of their hand, and Garrett Nussmeier ranked among the best in college football in getting the ball out of his hand last year. So that's already a strength of his game, but it's going to have to continue to be that, and it's going to have to get even better because I think there are going to be times where this LSU offense struggles to keep him as upright as the one did last year. And that's the piece that we don't get any look at in the spring because he's got a no contact on and they're not going to hit him. And there were multiple plays today where he probably made a throw down the field that he would not have been allowed to make because he probably would have been sacked or hit really hard today. But he wasn't because he's got the no contact on. And that's the piece that you have to kind of consider as you're watching practice and you're charting things and you're looking at the plays that the offense is making. You also have to consider, hey, this is a guy that can't get hit, and you're a little bit concerned about the offensive line. If Will Campbell and Emory Jones and Miles Frazier and Garrett Dellinger were coming back, and you added Braylin Moore to this mix, and I wouldn't really consider that part of the thing because I go, well, he's going to get good pass protection all year, which he did last year. But that's a question mark. Not a massive concern, not a huge red flag, just something we'll have to evaluate when the actual lights come on in Clemson, South Carolina, coming up on Labor Day weekend. But today, I thought a really nice day for LSU's passing game. But I'll say this, and this is coming from someone who has been very, very critical of the LSU defensive backs in fall camp the last 2 years. I mean, to the point where it was on Instagram, got all the clicks and all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm well aware of the things that I said. and I say that today the LSU passing game had a good day, I think I'm seeing some things from the DBs that I like in this spring. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.